Mike picked up this hunt camp in Kentucky that we go up to every year. And so it's become a tradition since 2014, maybe, that every year we go up there, and that's really the official kickoff of deer season. We have friends go up there. We do Bible studies on the porch in the morning, and it's really a feed into your soul type of weekend. And then it's a nice little bonus that there's some pretty big bucks there. So we've been doing that for a few years, and we had one of our good friends, Austin Castleman, from Nashville, come in. He's like, I've done a little bit of stump sitting, but I haven't hunted a whole lot. So, I'd like to come along for the weekend. I won't shoot anything. I won't even hunt, but I just want to see what this hunt camp's all about. So he came up, and he comes in the first night after the hunt, kind of kicks the door open with his foot, carrying his stuff in, and goes, "You boys catch anything?" And that was just, you could hear like the record screech, just, and so we made fun of him the rest of the weekend, obviously, and so we gave him the gears, and it became like one of those things with the guys that was just funny. And so we all left, and we'd send messages. Mike's like, I got back into the locker room, for training camp. The first thing I walked in the door, one of the guys said, "Did you catch anything?" And so it became kind of this joke, and we used the hashtag, and our group texts back and forth. It's like, "Heck of a weekend, boys! Congrats! Austin on your back, whatever." Mike, excited to be back again. Hashtag Catchin Deers. And so that was what it was until the following year. About a week before, I had made up these black and white foam trucker hats that just had Catchin Deers and big, bold, lettering across the front. And we had to stop and pick them up at the screen printer on the way up to camp. And we made 6 of them, which we call the original 6. And hockey guys will get that reference. There was 6 teams in the NHL when it first started. And so those were the original 6. But we had those made up, and as we were driving into camp, thinking these things are just the greatest, wearing our big bold Catchin Deers hats, we just kind of said, has anybody done anything with this? To your point, Jeff, you talked about timing, and it is 100% timing. Has anybody ever done anything with this Catchin Deers thing? And we came across like maybe one meme, and it was some guy that was just like, and it said like, when somebody asked if he caught anything, that was the only thing we could find. So we immediately were like, well, let's make some clothes and let's see what happens. And it was just kind of this pie in the sky fun thing that we were going to do, and make a couple hats. And we decided that we'd get a couple hundred hats made, and throw them on, a website and make a video. But nothing really happened for the first little bit. It was always in the back of my mind. Austin was CEO of his own company. Mike was playing in the NHL. So if anybody was doing any work, it was going to be me. So I was the one that had a little bit more time. I was in a sales role, actually working for Austin at the time. So I was pushing this a little harder than anybody else, and said, you know what, well, I'll write a script and come up with this video, and I'll build a website, and we'll figure out who's going to ship these hats out. And we launched that first video that you were talking about. We called it our brand anthem, but it was just our first Catchin Deers video. And we launched that on a Facebook page with 0 content that myself and like 2 buddies shared on our own personal page. And we had a website, just a basic website with a few photos and 1 hat that you could buy for $20 and free shipping. And that video blew up and went viral. I don't know now with reposts and everything how many views it had, but I do remember early on, like, it had 50,000 views by noon, and I was just like, that was more than I thought it would ever get. And then it was 300,000 by the time I went to bed, and it was 1 million the next day, and ended up at 5 million or something like that. And so we were sold out of hats like perpetually until after Christmas. And then so we went, okay, so this, people identify with this, and people are liking our way of communicating, and that we take things pretty lightly, or we say take your hunting seriously and yourself lightly. So we're passionate about it. We love big deer, but at the same time, it's really a conduit to our relationships. It's something that we get to share together, and that's what we were communicating, and that resonated with people. So the brand kind of took off from there 6 years ago, and now I'm doing the Buck Ventures podcast, for crying out loud.